talking to your regular retail buyers on your flip. They're pre-approved. They can go get an FHA loan, whatever type of a loan. They're like, garage door color, don't like it. Ooh, this over here, don't like it, right? It's just petty stuff, right? But you're like, but I have to cater to them. Like, please buy my house, pretty please. And we have to frame it that way to even make it happen. Whereas owner finance, they're like, oh my gosh. And I can't tell you, I've had just the last couple weeks, 2 people tell me this. So, and dozens of other people say this. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to buy a house. So look at those 2 different mindsets there, right? Where we're talking about,
a huge difference.
Do whatever I want, my rules, I'm in charge. Versus, I never thought that this was possible, and you made it possible. Thank you so much.
Hey, this is David Richter of the Profit First REI podcast. Actually, when I say special guest, this is a special guest because I probably know Caleb more than most people that I bring onto the podcast. We've worked together. We also work with him. He's a client of ours at Simple CFO, but he's also been someone that just throughout the years has helped me with some, lots of marketing stuff and helping me with my mindset through that stuff. Good friend. He's been someone that's been there for, during a big growth period in our life at Simple CFO here. So Caleb, thanks for coming on and sharing your wisdom here today.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, I want to jump in here. And first, I just wanted to say thanks for coming on the show. And I know that you have a ton to be able to share with people. Do you want to talk about, there's so many places we could start here. So, where would you like to start? And that would help, go the right direction, for you. And I want to make sure that we just provide a ton of value to the listeners. So do we want to start with how we started working together or I don't know, all your marketing experience? Let's dive in somewhere.
Yeah, so we can cover a quick marketing highlight reel if you want to. But I definitely think since we are on the Profit First podcast here, probably sticking to some things around kind of how really as a client, how I got started as your client, really on kind of that side, just kind of touching on some things, some of the bad choices that I made, some did different things there that I wasn't really aware of until we dug into some things. I was like, oh, I messed up there. I think that would be a great thing, but I'll kind of give just a quick marketing background just so that way we kind of have it a little bit. But been in real estate since about 2016, late 2017, kind of rumblings of this marketing agency thing. Didn't quite know what that was. Built a very successful and large agency. I personally have managed over $20 million in ad spend on Google, Meta, now formerly Facebook, as we all still call it, but on those 2 primarily, and have done it for not only for you guys, but a lot of real estate investors, home services, educators in this space, not only educators into the real estate space, but in other avenues as well. So pretty much you name it, marketing systems and sales, I've done all of them. And so at a very high level. And for now, I get to do it on my own stuff, which is fun. So kind of the first time in a while that we're back doing it for ourselves as a primary, as opposed to doing it for everybody else, which is awesome. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's very cool. So then talk about that journey. You've always had real estate investor in your blood and, being out there and helping, and not just, the general audience and going out there and helping real estate investors, but now you're working on putting those powers to okay, how do we make our business better? So you want to talk about okay, what are some of the things that you do in your business for the marketing perspective? And obviously, what are you measuring from there? And what are some of the most important things that you are measuring in order to get the numbers? Because obviously being CFOs, we want to know what are you going down to market and to make sure that you're getting the results that you want?
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll kind of jump in. So on the marketing front, we're doing all things online. So SEO, Google ads, running ads through Meta on Facebook and Instagram. Those are our 3 winners right there. Those are our 3 biggest ones. Look, we've done everything direct mail, ads on television, cold calling, texting, you name it, all the typical stuff, right? But we just keep kind of coming back to our core three things, which have been my core three things for almost a decade now. And so those have just, always been there. It's kind of like this kind of renaissance mindset for the last couple months now. It's like, wait a minute, I'm doing all these things. What if we just double down on what's working right now? And really through talking to my CFO, right? Like digging through that stuff. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. We might be onto something here. So we'll talk some more about that. But I think it'd be good to kind of go backward a little bit, because I think that it would be like, I feel like if well, I'm going to paint the picture here, but if we really like unravel the entire thing, I think it would stress everybody out, because it stressed me out. Once, like if everybody here really saw the whole totality of what happened, it would be very like, wow, how did you sleep at night? How did you make it? Right. And it's like, I'll be honest, barely, I was crawling, right? I was, we were barely made. But let's go back a couple years. This would have been late 2023, a couple years ago. And over the summer of that year, we had really kind of started to do a couple of renovations on some houses, and kept a couple of rentals, and kind of redabbled into the real estate side. Like you said, real estate's always been here. It's not going anywhere. Just we kind of got back into it and started to say, hey, we can do this. Like, we can do this big and efficient with a really big heart of like, hey, I want to provide as many jobs to people locally as I can. Right intentions, poor execution. So take note there. Had entrusted somebody in kind of a leadership role that I should not have, unfortunately. And as a result, between their bad choices, my bad choices of putting this individual in a role, in addition to just lawsuits with contractors, just crazy things, right? I mean, anything and everything you can think of, amassed to a little over $550,000 of losses. This isn't like losses on your taxes because we're trying to take write-offs where like that didn't really happen, right? No, this was like $500,000 that I didn't have. Not just I'm sitting here with like millions just hanging out with, right? It's like, no, this was $500,000 that just like actual real money that gone, right? Completely gone. So I had a very legitimate decision to make. Had to go through and cut that other individual out of not only business but personal stuff as well. That's another conversation for another day. But through that, luckily, knowing you, and was at the time working on a lot of marketing stuff with you guys, and just kind of had that conversation like, I kind of need some help here. And so we're now coming out of it has been like, oh my gosh, wow, this is wild. So it was kind of that moment of, all right, I'm going to choose bankruptcy and giving up everything, or I'm going to find a way to make this thing work. Right? It was like, all right, there's just no other option. And so, there were moments where we were literally, I don't know if I am one, Dave Ramsey's not going to love this, but I'm a big credit card point person. I am. And so there was a season there that literally, like, grocery shopping, we would get the Walmart, the gift cards from our credit cards. That's how personally we were even like able to eat, like literally, like it got to that level of like, okay, how are we gonna make it here? And the miracle of the whole thing, man, like the Lord is so faithful. There's no other way to say it. Credit didn't go down, never missed 1 month mortgage on the personal house. Always ate food, never went without. Were we going on vacations? No. But like always had, right? Always had something. Which is a miracle. Looking back, looking at the numbers on a spreadsheet, you're like, how did this even happen? And so really, Dan, it's a testament to not only the CFO I have through you guys, but everybody else that you guys have and your systems that make you dig in and ask the tough questions. Okay, how are we going to get out of this? What are our options? How can we do this? And so we came up and stuff that I would have never even thought about. We came up with the plan of, okay, here's how we're going to go and attack this, and here's how we're going to go get this done and go and get this done. And so I just went to work on the marketing front, right? And we just kept on chipping away and chipping away. And it took about 18 months to pay that whole thing off, to get the whole thing knocked out completely. A very large portion of that was on credit cards and other things. And so, we all know credit card interest isn't cheap. But we were able to knock the whole thing out completely, 100% of it, all gone. And now we have new challenges, which we'll talk about some of that as well. But yeah, that was all a testament because of you guys being able to get us through that. Just being able to know the numbers that we needed to know, and being able to really make some educated decisions on, okay, is it smarter right now to wholesale this or flip this, or what do we do? And some gut choices that I thought, that we should do this, got through the numbers. I was like, oh, wait a minute. It's not that I'm wrong, but the better option for the situation is actually this. It's like, oh, wow, I never would have done that. And then realizing what the ramifications of my original gut, what the gut choice would have looked like, and how that could have even, snowballed things even further. So, so that part, it was wild, man. I know that everyone's like, all right,
Yeah.
it was a lot to unpack. I realized there's a lot that had happened there. But a lot of great learning lessons. Those were all on flips as well. I think I had mentioned that. That's a whole other topic we'll jump into, I'm sure, but is the market and kind of what's happening now. But yeah, absolutely crazy. So had to go in and fix that. And now, we literally just last month set a company record for the most contracts that we've inked as a company. And so it's going from that to literal record-breaking months. Oh, and July, so 2 months ago now, was our biggest revenue month ever, period, ever. And so on the real estate side. And so it's like, okay, so not only have we gotten our biggest revenue month, and then now most contracts locked up. So I'm like, all right, so this month, I'm like, back-to-back months of breaking records. Like, all right, well, we got to find another one and smash it and just keep going because we're on a roll right now. And so I'm like, all right, you got to break some records, baby. Here we go. We're going for some more.
Yeah. So let me ask you, in that process, did you find that it was the exit strategies and having clarity on what was profitable there, or where you were spending the money and pouring it into? Like, when you said that you had the numbers in front of you and like your gut decision wasn't wrong, it just wasn't the best one. What were some of those examples? Was it those exit strategies or marketing spend, or a combination of a bunch of things?
All of it. So I'll start on the exit strategies to begin with. Right. So like, again, you put yourself in the mindset of, okay, you got $500,000 and you're trying to uphill battle. And by the way, at the time, we didn't know what the numbers were because our flips were still listed. And so they were kind of like this ambiguous kind of moving target. Wasn't actually like an exact number yet. So every month it didn't sell, right? It kept going up. And so some of the choices were like, well, I got an offer at, $20,000 below asking. I'm looking at it from the big overview. Well, I'm going to wait a month or two before I make a decision on that, because I know we can get, like, it's priced right. We've got an appraisal in hand. I know what it's worth. We're just going to wait. Then diving into, well, hang on now, if we waited. And so we kind of analyzed a couple of those, and there were at least 2 houses that we're going to reject that offer and wait because we feel like we could make this happen. And that was the right choice because it did come eventually. It just took about a month and a half later. Other ones where it was like, okay, even if I got an offer next week, right? It's like, oh, wait a minute, I'm still going to be all the interest, all this, let's just take it then and just move on, right? So there were some of those, because again, right, you're looking at the totality of it all. You're like, oh my gosh, this is stressing me out. I got to get the most possible. Well, it's not necessarily about the most possible. It's about knocking out the debt that's coming in and some of the other things too. Again, this is why having that CFO there were a few credit cards that I was able to get 0% interest on. And so we were able to go and kind of, again, in tandem with that, know when those were expiring. And so one of the houses was hey, this credit card is next month is starting interest. So if you take this offer now, you can pay it off before interest ever accrues. So now we can knock that out. But if you wait, you now have the hard money loans and the credit card interest on this card that's going to rack up until you sell it, right? And then it's like, oh, wait a minute. That's going to that's going to go real quick. So there was that angle. And of course, wholesale versus the flip and versus the rental, some too. But like in that, okay, wholesale it now, take 30 grand now, or flip it to make 70 grand, right? Like which one makes sense? And so running those numbers and actually understanding, hey, the 30 grand right now guaranteed helps us way more than 70 grand maybe in six months, right? But again, when you look at it from a totality perspective, you're like, well, 70 grand's in much larger than the 30 grand, right? So like those are a couple of the examples that were like, hey, wait a minute. And even still now, we're not in that hole, right? That hole is way gone. We're miles and miles away from where that sinkhole was, right? That's way gone. But we're still analyzing things the exact same way. We had one that we set a company record, biggest wholesale deal ever. I just realized this is back in June. So that's 3 straight months, man. This month, I'm telling you, we got to get 4 months now of something huge happening. But that house in June was an $80,000 assignment fee. For those of you that are like, well, I get 6-figure ones, good for you. I'm in small town USA. All right. I am where our top, I should say our median house value right now is like $2 to $250 right now. So this isn't like Las Vegas where I'm wholesaling a $500,000 house for $600,000. Like, no, that doesn't that doesn't happen here. So like this was a big deal. And we just looked at it and said, okay, 80 grand now or 120 to flip ish. Okay. What makes sense for us right now? And I was able to sit there and say, wait a minute. Yeah, 80 grand now all day long and not even question it because had the numbers in front of us and able to actually analyze that and say, yeah, no, I'll take that all day long. Right. And that was actually that deal right there was the one we were able to pay off our last 50 or 60 grand that we had owed from that hole was that one. And so that was fantastic. That was awesome to have our biggest hole ever kind of knocked.
That had to be a flip that assignment that you'll always remember. It's like getting that off your plate and then being like, yeah, this is great.
Eventually hit 6 figures, whatever. That one's always going to be that remember that one, right? That's always it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so you had mentioned you have some new challenges. So what are some of the new challenges that you're facing, even with the numbers in front of you that you're trying to work through?
So not flipping anymore, which is a big
okay.
I've got my general contractor's actual license. I've got my own crews on payroll on salary. I've got trucks, trailers, equipment, the tool, all the stuff that we've been able to do flips at a lower cost. But our market is shifting. And so right now we've got 3 flips currently, that actually 4 flips, that right now we're going to end up projected losing a little over $100,000. And
ouch.
This sucks. Yeah. Especially after just going through what we just went through. And now this immediately you're like, all right, what is happening? Why do I suck at this? What's going on? And so the numbers of things and house by house, kind of what happened, right? So, and I won't dig into all of them too much, but one of them was a house that we were going to actually move into ourselves. Our house didn't sell, and so we said, hey, we're just going to stay here. So that one we overspent probably by about 30 grand on, which was just because we were doing extra things for ourselves. One of them was termite ridden. How that house didn't fall down, I have no idea. That one I don't give us as big of a hard time on because it was a part of the house that there was no access to unless you ripped the floor up. There was no way to see it, right? There was no crawl space access. There was just no way to see it. And we had to reframe the entire right half of that house, like literally the whole thing. Again, how it didn't fall down, miracle. So that was a big deal. It was like, oh crap, okay, that one sucks. That one's hard to control. But again, we put some better SOPs in place to do better, more thorough inspections. And by the way, for those of you sitting out there like, you could have figured that one out. No, we couldn't have. I had multiple inspectors that I paid to come out there and say, I want you to find how you could have found this the way that it was. And they were like, I had three of them. All three of them said,
Wow.
there is no way I could have ever, there's no way I could have seen that. So it's not just like you had to rip it out to find it. So that one, again, chalk that up as a just random, what the heck. The other two are just more of a market shift, right? That we weren't ready for. And in our area, houses are selling for much closer to $180 to $200 a square. And I mean, again, to some of you guys out there, they're like, $180 a square foot. That's so cheap. They're like, well, yeah, I mean, it kind of is, comparatively. And so right now we're under contract at around $145 a square foot, roughly, somewhere around there. And so we had to take a really big price drop. And why? I'll be honest with you, I don't really know. Brand new roof, brand new HVAC, plumbing, electrical, this, that, the other. It's a brand new house, right? Brand new house. And why it hasn't sold? I don't know. Other than buyers are picky. We had somebody not like the color of the garage door, so they put an eye on a different house. I was like, so tell me to change the garage door. I'll give you a £3 credit. We'll swap it out. Boom, done. Right? Like to you and I, it's like, well, that's just easy. But we're running into that buyers, they're just really picky right now. And they're, it's really hard to build a business model around depending on other people to want your houses. And so
that makes sense.
Right. We're shifting. We're guaranteed. We can count on it. We know it's going to happen and when it's going to happen and control it. I'll talk some about that, but we're kind of shifting there.
Okay. So you are going more towards an assignment going that direction, wholesale versus just all flipping, which is what you've been doing and you've been doing for the last few years. But now the market's telling you something different and the data's telling you something different. So you're going to the shorter model, it sounds like.
Definitely. So we're shifting to mostly wholesale and owner financing. So that's other very creative thing that we're doing. I'm a big creative owner financing sub-2 person. Love that stuff. Absolutely love it. But I have figured out a way to basically take any house that you would keep and go get a loan on it and be able to sell it on owner financing via contract for deed. And so that's something that we're doing a lot of right now. And it's working really well. Those buyers, right? So this is a mindset shift that I had to work through and figure this out. Talking to your regular retail buyers on your flip, they're pre-approved. They can go get an FHA loan, whatever type of a loan. They're like, garage door color, don't like it. Ooh, this over here, don't like it, right? It's just petty stuff, right? But you're like, but I have to cater to them. Like, please buy my house, pretty please. And we have to frame it that way to even make it happen. Whereas owner finance, they're like, oh my gosh. And I can't tell you, I've had just the last couple weeks, 2 people tell me this. So, and dozens of other people say this. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to buy a house. So look at those 2 different mindsets there, right? Where we're talking about,
I want a huge difference.
Whatever I want, my rules, I'm in charge. Versus, I never thought that this was possible, and you made it possible. Thank you so much. All of a sudden now, right? Those are 2 completely different ends of the spectrum, and so that's really why we're shifting that way. Because we can control that. So we're refinancing these properties. We've got 5 happening right now that we're working on, waiting on the last 2 to get completed. We're going to refi all 5 into one loan, and we've already got 2 of them sold. So all of a sudden, we've got local banks that I was able to go and pitch the model to. They can see it, they understand it, and they lend on them, and they're good. We're all good. And so that's the beauty of it, of just, have in this market, you've got to get creative. That's what we're doing. We're shifting. So no more flips. With what we have currently, we got to sell, obviously. And just some little things too, like, well, the houses that we have unlisted can't work for owner financing. They're a little bit too expensive. So we have our new criteria that we have to focus on. And so, yeah, I mean, again, all CFO driven in finding, oh, wait a minute, here's our numbers. Here's where we have to sit at. Not just me just kind of aimlessly wandering. Because I feel like if I hadn't have had the guidance, it's probably another year before I figured this out. Right? You know, it's probably probably taking me some more time to like stumble across it. Maybe 6 months. I'll give myself benefit of the doubt a little bit, right? Maybe six.
Sure.
6 months. But like that 6 months, I could be doing more deals that shift was already made last month. So we haven't bought any new we were going to, but then we just pivoted and are just changing the direction on those. And so, and it's, you know, again, now we're going to end up refinancing those about 3 weeks from right now, but we already know how much cash we're getting back into the operation to keep things running. So there is no question mark of, oh, when's it going to sell? When this, when that? No, now we know. And it takes a lot of the pressure off of, okay, cash flow, I got to keep this up and running. Like, no, now we have it, you know, more, I don't say more exact, but like we have a better handle. So.
Yeah, no, I really like hearing that and of how you've taken the action. And I want to apply what you just said there at the end of like, well, I might have found it 6 months later. It's like, well, what if you didn't have someone at the beginning of all this? And then it's like,
Right.
wait, could you have waited 6 months, you know, like to start paying stuff off and then like all that? It sounds like that's a no. So it's almost like you got to take the opportunities when they come to you and then from there work off of them and build and build. And then obviously when this market shift happened, you had someone to go to say, does this make sense to go a different direction at this point as well too?
Yeah, and to actually analyze those numbers, and you're right. I mean, 6 months probably puts an end to the whole thing. And we're not sitting here talking about how we just set 3 straight months of biggest assignment fee, most revenue ever closed, and then most contracts ever signed in back to back to back months. We're probably not sitting here talking about that. When 6 months, that's a long time when your hard money's racking up and credit cards are racking up. You know, I mean that again, that's the key swing here that could put somebody under. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And just to recap, because we're going to close up here in a couple minutes, because I want to end with like what you're doing now on the marketing side and with steel marketing and like all of that, and just tell a little bit about that. But if you're listening right now, you know, it's like, this is how you're able to go from 500,000 in losses and getting out of the hole. And I love what Caleb did. He put his head down and got to work, but he didn't work in the wrong direction. He worked in the right direction. In 18 months, he got out of the hole. And that's why I love the Keith Cunningham book so much, because it just hits you right between the eyes. He's like, there's nothing worse than running enthusiastically in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is where having those key clarity can really help you. And then to go in another period of like, because it's not just going to be smooth sailing once you know your numbers. It's being able to handle those storms faster once they come up, which it sounds like you just did, to be able to pivot in this market. So that's I love what you've done. And now I want to talk about steel marketing. Why don't we just end it here with a couple minutes of you talking about what you're doing and how you're helping people on the marketing side in the real estate space?
Yeah. So, you know, just like we've done since 2017, you know, those things that, you know, kind of mentioned earlier that, you know, hey, we really were spending money on TV ads and direct mail and this and that. And we just really got to the numbers and said, hey, what are our core channels in our operation that are really working? And it got down to, in this exact order, SEO, PPC, Facebook ads. Those are our 3 like letters right there. And actually, it's funny. I've got, I was just doing this yesterday. I've got the sticky notes right here. Let me pull this up here. I like to write stuff down. But I have them right here. What our numbers were, and I think this will kind of open some eyes a little bit. I actually got one wrong. It goes SEO, Facebook, PPC. Sorry. What SEO? We're getting 19.97 ROI on that channel. Facebook was a 5.88x return, and PPC was a 4.66x return. Again, those beat all of our other channels, and so we said, hey, we're gonna really just focus on that stuff. And so at Steel Marketing, like I said, we've been doing it since 2017, doing this exact thing for other investors and other companies. And so I'm excited because for the first time since early 2017, our real estate operation is in such full-fledged running that now we're really able to go back to the old school ways we used to run things, where my real estate operation is kind of the test dummy, right, for everything else we do for everyone else. And so people can know, like, hey, when we run your ads, this has been tested by myself first. My own money is spent on this to test creatives, landing pages, ad copy, all of those things first before your money's ever spent. And that's, people love that. That tends to be a big resounding, like, man, I like this. And again, the other cool part that I'm excited for, and this is one thing that, and I'll be straight up, I tell everybody this, gone are the days of us taking on hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of clients. Because at one point we had, hundreds on, we're capped out at 50 or so, and those spots are filling up. And so the beautiful part about that is that really allows me to kind of workshop and do some of these things. That I've got clients that call me and say, hey, what would you do about this house? Should we go creative? Should we do this? And like, I love getting to do that and just kind of talk shop, because again, you mentioned it at the very beginning of this. Real estate's in the blood. It's not going anywhere. I'm not changing it. I can do whatever I want to, but real estate, it's like, it's always going to come back to that. So, so it's just been,
awesome.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and just getting to dive in with other investors, going through the same things and pushing them over to you guys as well. But like, you guys need this, telling you, I know that you do, because I did. And so you do too. So.
Yeah. Well, then how do people get a hold of you if they like that and they like what you're doing? I'd like them to have some place to go if they're needing that
You know
help.
what the beautiful thing is? I am the only Caleb Luketic in the world. If you look me up, social media, Google, ChatGPT, all of it, I'm the only one of me. You'll find me. My website is calebluketic.com. You can go check that out. And probably by the time this gets released, I'm excited because we're working on getting a little landing page up and live with some of these actual numbers, that instead of my chicken scratch handwriting somewhere, it's actual, like, here's the results, here's the numbers for people to actually go and see and walk through how our CRM is set up and helped us get things done, and all of the marketing and things like that, to actually like touch and hold. Okay, what are actual tangible results I could expect out of, well, investing in that stuff. So yeah.
Good stuff. So that's where you could go, calebluketic.com, if you want to get in touch with him. And then once he has that landing page out, you got to see the actual numbers there, not just the chicken scratch, which that was great. So then from here, if you're like Caleb as well, and you're like, I either have something hanging over my head, or I'm just making decisions, but like, I'm not always making the best decisions. I don't have my numbers. What the heck is he talking about? If you have no idea where your numbers are, or if you want a better crystal ball to see where you're going, reach out to us at simplecfo.com. We're there for you to make sure you know where your numbers are, to make sure you know where every dollar's going, and actually having a dashboard right in front of you to see what is coming down the pipeline. Should I change marketing strategies? Should I go out there and change exit strategies? What should I do? What's the market telling me to do? So if you need that help, reach out there. If you want help on the marketing front, this is where the 1-2 punch comes into play. Reach out to Caleb at calebluketic.com, because if you need more leads in the door and you need more people knocking on your door or calling you on the phone, that's what Caleb can help you do. This is like the make and keep combo right here, because we want to help you keep it. Caleb wants to help you make it. Thank you for listening. Caleb, thank you for being on the podcast today and sharing all that you did today.
This episode of the Profit First for REI podcast is over, but there are plenty more where that came from. Are you ready to learn how David and his team can help implement the Profit First system in your business? Schedule a discovery call at simplecfo.com right now. We'll see you next time on the Profit First for REI podcast with David Richter.